Alright, so the story of David Grand. This is probably the short version. I had gotten evicted was under eviction in Tampa, Florida in 2020 during the pandemic. I was on Facebook doing what I am truly passionate about, which is researching and speaking about cannabis. Anyway, the bar across the street, the girl had said there is a project going on with the University of Florida, a hemp project, that I might be able to get in with that. So I typed up a letter to some. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Right day before Thanksgiving, I was going to be evicted. He'd come and pick me up and said, hey, I'm going to be in the cannabis industry. And I'm like, yep. Got in the car, we went. Ended up in Georgia to a man's house. And this man was unaware of my presence, that I was even going to be there. He was aware of David Grand's, not mine. He accepted me into the house, and I stayed there for about a year. Helped him get his hemp permit thing, the farm. Grew hemp at Oglesby International Plants in Alpha, Florida. With Bazelit Health at the time, whatever their thing. It was a zero THC CBG hemp. So did that, and then we had a thing with the University of Georgia in Georgia. So we got the plants there, put them in the field, flooding some other crop, in and out. The gentleman that had the farm worked out a thing, so we got the mother plants. Had gotten as many mother plants as we could, got them back there, put them in pots, did what I really wanted to do on this tennis court, makeshift. None of this was the way it should be, but whatever, did it. All lab tested in the end, so from seed to harvest to processing into the lab, all documented. The University of Georgia, and there's a lab, forget what town it was in, the lab results are in, but it's in Georgia. Anyway, I was, because the person who was supposed to be doing it, the master grower, I guess, ditched out, and hey, I did it all. Very little help, but this David Grand guy, who worked for Obama, worked, I guess, government jobs, blah, 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 been to a bunch of countries, cannabis reform, all this in other countries. Anyway, every time we would pass through Jackson County, there's a federal prison, and he kept saying, I'm one step away from being in there, and that scares the hell out of me. One of the, I believe at that time, and I'm not sure currently because it's been a while, the county commissioner there, good man, I can't remember his name, but I know he was like ex-Secret Service, good guy. He didn't really like David Grand. I think he knew he was just a shady bastard. True. But in the end, I did what I had to do for the hemp project. He got the information that he needed, and the reports that he would do, like, he plagiarized all of it, pretty much. I mean, he threw in a bunch of words, but 90% of it was plagiarized. And this is supposed to be the guy who knows the most about cannabis in the state of Florida. No. One time he actually did RSO, which he never knew what Rick Simpson oil was. He got so lit that when he, I guess, went to sleep, he had a dream that I was the devil. Well, maybe all the things that he told me along the way were meant for this moment right now, so I could make sure. Because a lot of the phone calls that he had that we went on when we would go from where we were at to go to a dispensary and get medical cannabis, we'd be on these conference calls. They were, I don't know, from Washington to India. There were multiple people. But he would always talk about, well, whatever, we can adjust the price. Don't worry about it. The price can be adjusted. And I'm like, what? Who the hell does that? That's like manipulating gas prices. There's wrong, just plain out wrong. But then his partner was Michael Elzafon, and if you look up him, he's the Minnesota guy. I posted something. He's shady as hell. Now, between the two, I guess one has a Harvard degree and the other one, I don't know what his education level is, but I sat there with a flip phone or a cheap prepaid phone and a mobile hotspot and was able to get them a printer that worked, the hotspot to get the stuff, and started basically two businesses from a chair in a home with no internet. And I could figure this out, but the two of them, very wealthy people, couldn't figure out how to do any of it, and freaked every time, angry just about everything, and they hated each other. I just wanted to be around plants and grow hemp. I just wanted to be able to grow cannabis. That was all I wanted, and I did. But in the end, he got what he needed, and then it was screw you, and it's over. And it got down to the point where the man whose farm that we'd planted it on, or who had owned the land, he'd been worked up a lot, and I said, man, you're gonna have a heart attack. The man died of a heart attack later on, but David Grand had said something to the man in which the home in which I was staying, and it was very disrespectful. The gentleman that had the land, when I'd spoken to him, and he walked over to him and about dropped him like a bad habit. It scared him, and so he after that it was pretty much part ways and done, and never heard from that scared little jackass again, thank God. But between him and Michael Elzafon, you can ask anyone that's ever known him or dealt with him. No one wants to be around this guy. Of course, he's on LinkedIn. You can look him up for yourself. I don't care to get into that. I don't want to give him the credit. He doesn't deserve it. But he's shady as hell. He once bragged, and hopefully President Trump hears this, maybe, I don't know. He bragged about being at Mar-a-Lago with his vape pen like it was something special, and apparently he posted about it on Facebook. So if that's something that President Trump would like to research, I hope so. And if it's something he disagrees with highly, then it's up to the man to take whatever actions the man wants to do. He's the president. He can do what he wants to do. Anyway, I got pretty much crapped on, in the end. And I ended up here out in Pensacola doing pools after that, which that parlays into getting hit with chlorine gas a couple times and being almost killed out here a few times. You can see that hasn't worked. As far as the Crime Stoppers thing goes, there was a house in Pensacola that they're selling drugs and whatever. Anyhow, when I knew that the guy had been lacing stuff with fentanyl and was really just you do not put fentanyl in cannabis. This is why lab testing is so important to cannabis. It kills people on the streets when people are greedy and lace it with drugs that should never. Cannabis is the only thing that should be in cannabis. Period, point blank, nothing else. Lab test everything. Anyway, I've called Crime Stoppers, and I can tell you this is why it's BS. In Pensacola, Crime Stoppers, DEA, whatever, any of the little three-letter entities out there. For 2 to 3 weeks after that, I had this guy's phone number still, so I looked at the phone, and that little green dot that means the phone's on or has Wi-Fi connection would still pop on and off all the time. So I saw that for 2 to 3 weeks after I'd said of what was going on and had a phone call into Crime Stoppers. Now, guys getting packages delivered, which means it's a federal offense getting what he was getting through the freaking mail and picking it up. That's like multi-state, and there's federal offenses in this. Now, I don't know if I pissed off some multinational little investigation that they were trying to do that they just didn't do their fucking job. But anyway, for 2 to 3 weeks after that, nothing was done because the guy's phone was still on, unless the people were using it, because I never went back by there to see if they knocked down the door or hauled his ass out. But when I did call with the number that I was given from Crime Stoppers, I was told there's nothing. Just, it was whatever, referred to something else, and there's no reward. You ain't getting squat. Great. Well, thanks. There's my thing about that. So, but the thing about David Grand was his shady ass worked in a lot of labs, and he was all about that THCA stuff. Even made a jar of it. Now, I'd smoked a lot of it. Didn't do. I mean, whatever. It wasn't flower. I wasn't impressed. But now, all of a sudden, thinking back, in the last couple of years, or last year at least, all of these hemp stores have all this. The one lawyer guy had called Frankenhemp or something like that. It was funny. No, that stuff is THCA plus heat is THC, which means if you're selling it in a store and someone who whatever on rehab or could be in could fail a drug test, if they smoke that, put heat to it and smoke it, it's THC in their system, which means they would fail a drug test. That is not good. How is that allowed to skip through on a loophole in a farm bill when it endangers the lives of people who do not need to fail a drug test? I pay the state of Florida to have a medical card so that I can access THC products. I have a marijuana registry that states what products I buy, when I buy them, how much I buy them, and can be accessed and is linked to my driver's license. But if you buy THCA flower and smoke it, that's THC in your system, and you don't need a card for this. So weirdly enough, that almost is negligence in the way that cannabis has been legal for a year and people have been profiting off of it, but they just haven't said it. Fun fact about another thing, and I'll leave this go because 13 minutes is way too damn long for me to talk. The hemp that was the industrial hemp part was seeds, Bama, Puma, and Yuma that came from China that were shipped, they were stamped USDA, blah, 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 went to Oglesby International Plants in Alpha, and then ended up being transferred to Cornell University to attention Dr. Larry Smart, I believe. And then Cornell University has run industrial hemp trials since then, and it's been pretty impressive to see the results and follow that on YouTube. I've enjoyed that. But those seeds, I literally laid my hands upon all of them and watched it grow in a field in Georgia before it ever went to Cornell University. There's also lab test results in the state of Georgia accessible by the University of Georgia for that also. That would be whatever, I just said it, I'm not going to repeat it. But anyhow, there's what I said I was going to say. I don't know what time it is because I don't have a working phone. I can't go through the verification process of YouTube to do a live stream, so I'm sitting underneath a 300 plus year old tree with an eagle nest recording this so that I can post it and get on about my day. So anyway, there's that. And I mean, I'm Cannabis Carl here in Pace, Florida. If anybody would like to talk to me, please. Still starving. Still need my tacos, and I still need medical cannabis and some sweet tea. Have a great day.